starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
I'm Taylor Pettis, and today we're talking about local SEO with Andy Thompson. A couple of quick items before we start today. We are recording today's session, and everyone will be emailed a copy of the presentation after the event. We also encourage you, the audience, to help make this interactive. Please feel free to chime in with questions and comments during the presentation, and I'll do my best to have Andy answer them as we go. Now to today's topic, local SEO. The phone book is so yesterday, so old that I don't even know what year to insert to make that comment funny. Today's consumers, as you know, they search Google to find what they're looking for. That's why local SEO is a critical marketing strategy, and we'll learn more about this from Andy Thompson. Andy is a digital marketer who specializes in helping brands get discovered through organic search. He's a contributor to the Moz blog, and their organization published Andy's case study about all the steps required to change our address at 3Deep digitally when we moved offices last winter. I'm really looking forward to learning from Andy today, and hope you'll enjoy the session as well.
Thanks, Taylor. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We're going to talk about trying to make local SEO as simple as possible for business owners who have customers looking for them, near their business, looking for their business, and try to clarify a few things for you as well during the process, and try to make it a little bit enjoyable. So here is what Taylor and I look like when we're dressed up and smiling, and a little bit of our contact information right there as well. I'm an SEO specialist with 3D. We do a lot of SEO audits for full-scale websites ranging from small local contractors to enterprise businesses. And local SEO can apply to any of those, any business really. So a little bit of an agenda for us today. We're going to talk about, just sort of introduce SEO, go into local SEO a little bit deeper, and then talk about what 3Deep has done for local SEO, and then talk a little bit about how we can relate this to your own business, and how you can search for your or how your customers are searching for you online. And then we'll talk about where you can start to make changes and make things improve, and then what happens long term, and then we'll get to a few questions at the end. So, what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. What that sort of implies is working on satisfying how customers can find your business or your website on the internet. And a lot of that has to do with your website. So we talk about the SEO pyramid a lot at 3Deep when we're talking to our clients. We talk about a website as needing to have a strong foundation. So when we do an audit, we start with the technical and structural factors, and what that means is how your website is constructed, how all the pages relate to each other, and how search engines can look at your website, crawl your website, and appropriately serve your web pages to searchers out in the web. So how does that relate to local SEO? Well, above the technical and structural factors are on and off page factors. That includes anything from links all over the web and social media profiles, and then it also includes local citations. So these are this is what a user will see when they're searching on Google for your business. This is an example of 3Deep's local citation on Google. You can see there are a lot of different elements to this. There are many different kinds of citations. You can think of a citation as a listing in the yellow pages of old, like Taylor was introducing. What's happening online is that there are a lot of different kinds of phone books. There's a lot of places people are searching, be it Yelp or Facebook or Google or any other search engine. They need to find your information and have it be accurate when they're looking for it. So some of the standard elements of a citation, as we look at 3Deep's citation, you have your business name very prominent there. You have a link to your website. Then there's a map in the upper corner, and there's images of the location. Google wants this to be as relevant as possible and have all the information that you might be looking for in one place. So there's some descriptive things in this citation, you can see marketing agency is a category beneath our business name there, as well as our contact information. And if we had reviews, we would love some more reviews. So if you're a customer, we would love for you to leave us a review and we could have a rating there. But reviews are an important part of local SEO as well. So we need to work on that, obviously. But we'll get going here and get a little bit more context into what goes into local SEO. And throughout this presentation, we're going to use sort of a theme related to something all of us have sort of looked at in local search, probably at some point or the other. And that subject is pizza. So we're going to use that as sort of a guiding theme when we look into some examples here. So we'll move ahead and see where that comes up. So some key elements of local SEO. It's important to think of search as trying to, if you think of Google as the search engine, they're trying to provide the most relevant answer for a searcher. And when that search is made, they want to determine some different things. So those key elements are user intent, local location, and then it's geared toward mobile, and a lot of the layout and inputs to local SEO are changing fast. So we'll look at those real quick here. So user intent, so that's Google trying to determine that relevance. So what is relevant to your search? What is the query, the keyword that the user is putting in, and how can they best answer that question? So they divide user intent into these 4 basic categories. So navigational, so that'd be I need to find my way to 3 Deep's office, or I need to find my way to the nearest pizza place. That's a navigational query. Then there's informational, that'd be how-to articles and news articles, Wikipedia, things like that. Then there's commercial queries. So this is sort of a mixed bag. They try to determine if a keyword has some commercial intent that you might be learning more about a purchase down the line, and they might serve you some local results in that query. And then transactional would be more like I want to buy a pizza right now. Well, that might have some local intent, but if it's something, a product you can buy, they'll serve you some product results as well. So we'll look into a couple of these examples coming up. So for location-based, it's important to know that this local SEO is focused on where the person who is searching is located. They use your device, your computer or your mobile device, your GPS if you have that on. There's a lot of talk about security and people tracking location, but they want to, when you look at the light side of it, the serving your needs part of it, you want to see things that are relevant to your location when you're searching for things around you. So Google uses the device location as something they call a centroid. Now this centroid, years ago, if you were searching for something in Minneapolis or St. Paul, where we're located where 3 Deep is located, they might serve results based on the middle of the city. But now they've advanced their capabilities so that they can serve results to what's directly around your address, what's in your neighborhood, anything like that. So when you look at a search result with a map, that little blue dot in the middle is the centroid of the search. So mobile focus, that's a key element because more and more people are using their mobile devices to search online. Google, if you look at it on a desktop, if you search any given term, all the results are going to be in a narrow column on the left. It's getting narrower and narrower. They've even removed some search ads, paid ads on the right column to make it even more focused on the mobile phone. This is a screenshot of the mobile view of Google when you make a search that has a local result. The map is the first thing that you see. So Google is obviously the most common example, but all of these all these search engines and social media sites want to serve mobile users well. Then another key thing is that things are changing. You have to keep your eye on the news, on the changes, on the way search pages are laid out. This is a screenshot of the changes that happened in August of last year, just 6 months ago. There were up to 7 search results in what is called the local pack, so the search results that are the local businesses that they will serve for a search with local intent. Now they've reduced that to only 3. So this is a really influential update. As you can see, you have to click that More Orthodontist button in this screenshot to see the results below there. So it makes it more important to have your information displayed correctly so that you can rank highly for a local search. So I'll give you a little bit more about my background with local SEO. I recently published an article called Local SEO Case Study, the Diary of an Address Change on Moz.com. I wrote about the process of 3D moving our office across town and how we used local SEO best practices to update our address in our citations across the web. It goes into a lot of detail, step-by-step things that we did to make sure that the process went well and we didn't lose any rankings and people could find our location when they're looking for it. Some of the things we did were looking at our Google Street View on our citation, trying to make that look correctly so people could find their way to our door. Our office is in a big building with multiple entrances, and the way Google was serving results was prompting people to go into the restaurant that's on the corner. That's still something up for debate, but it still changes sort of depending on who you are and when you're searching for our business. But the article goes into the process of making that a little easier for users, and it also goes into how we tracked our progress and tried to make sure we were doing the right changes. So now we'll switch gears toward how local SEO can help you. It's important when you're starting out to think about how users are searching for your business. How is your customer searching, and how are they searching for things related to your business? Now these are going to sort of link back to some of that user intent I mentioned earlier. As you can see here, you need to think about where your customer is searching. Wherever they are, they should be seeing, if they're going to see your business, they should see it near them. So if you have a pizza place in St. Paul and your customer is in Minneapolis, they probably won't find your business. You can see the search results on these screenshots are different. Google's serving up results that are popular pizza places near the location. So while you might want someone to show up to drive all the way from Minneapolis to St. Paul and come to your pizza place, it's a little tougher to rank for that result. So you need to focus on what's really realistic. So if you're a pizza place in St. Paul, you want to rank in that top 3, and you probably shouldn't be concerned about ranking in this Minneapolis search. Now here's an example of a little bit more of an informational search that your customer might make. One reason you might want to rank in this category of a pizza recipe, let's say you have a great pizza recipe that you want people to find. It's not a local search. It's an informational search. So you'd want to rank highly for this. Granted, there is a lot of competition here. As you can see, Martha Stewart, New York Times, and FoodNetwork.com. So it might not be a super likely ranking goal, but you just need to think about these different terms and what you might want to target when you're creating content and working on local SEO. Another example of a different type of user intent is pizza oven. This query returned a few different types of results. There's an informational result on the right, so that's one of the knowledge graph results from Google that has some nutrition facts. Then there's some shopping results on the top. There's a paid ad in the middle, and then we've got local results at the bottom. Now, I would say that this has some commercial intent, so Google's not sure whether this query is related, which section of which type of thing the user is searching for. So they're giving me some local results of pizza places that have brick ovens or an oven as part of their information describing their business. Now, another thing to consider is the suggestion box. When you're searching on Google, they'll often give you this drop-down menu with suggestions. One of the most common ones is they add a near me. So if you're searching for pizza delivery, they'll give you a near me, and it'll give you an automatic search result of the closest places to your location. But they also give you these suggestions of other cities and neighborhoods that you might be searching for that are near your location as well. So there's just a lot of things to consider when you're thinking about your customers and how they're searching for your business. So when you're getting started with local SEO, you need to think about a few things. What kind of business are you? Do you have multiple locations? Are you a service area business? Do you have one single location that people should be looking for? An example on this page is Pizza Hut. So Pizza Hut isn't the client, just so you know, but we're using them just to sort of fit in with the pizza theme here, and as a good example of a place with multiple locations. So if I search Pizza Hut from our office here in St. Paul, they're going to give me the 3 nearest locations. Now each of those locations is an individual citation that should be managed individually. So that needs to be as accurate as possible, so that when I'm looking for a Pizza Hut near Summit and University, that I find that one first. This is just an example of a multi-location business. Then you need to, after you've sort of thought about that, you need to think about your current situation and how to figure that out. And then finally, what needs to be done. So we're going to go into that a little bit here. To find out your current situation with local SEO, a good place to start is a service called Moz Local. Now, if you're not familiar with Moz, Moz is obviously what I mentioned where I publish my blog. They have a great SEO blog that covers all kinds of different SEO subjects. They're also a software provider, and they have a local SEO service that you can use for free just to sort of check your standing. You can go over to that website and put in your business name and then your zip code, and it'll show you some suggested some locations that they have in their database. So they keep a database of different citations all across the web, across different authoritative listing services, and then they'll give you an evaluation on how well that citation is constructed and how well it's represented across the web. So here's what the result would be if I chose the second result in this search result. So that 1520 Stinson Boulevard location of Pizza Hut is not doing very well. So they're evaluating this out of 100%, and this particular citation that we're looking at has a 20% score. They're evaluating it on how complete the citation is, so how many of the areas that we looked at in the 3D citation at the top of this presentation, how many of those are filled out, whether that incomplete field is the next tab that you can see here. That's an important aspect. And then inconsistent, they're looking across all the citations that have this address. And then duplicates. Duplicate citations is a big issue. You want to have one citation on one listing source. So if you're on Google, you could have multiple search results for the same location. That's a bad thing. You need to clean that up. So we'll talk about how we start doing that now. So first thing to do is get all your information together. So this is something I used during my article for Moz, is I used this local SEO audit template set up by another writer at Moz named Casey Mraz. He has a great local SEO ultimate audit article that you can go through step by step, and he provides this spreadsheet that you can download and use to make sure that all your citation information is going to be centralized, and you can use this as sort of a copy paste source for all of your citation updates going forward. Now this is an example of what 3D has. This isn't secret information. This is the same stuff that we have on our Google My Business. So it's important to just get started and go through all of these little, all these fields, each row. And this document is also has a few other tabs, so you can track the citations as you make updates if you're going in depth. And then also this could be used for multi-locations. You can make a different tab for each location that you have to keep track of. So the thing after you get your information straight is looking at your website. So there's a few different things that go into this. We're using 3D as an example of a single location business. We have a contact page on the site with our information up in the upper right corner of that page that needs to be as accurate as possible. And then in the footer of every page, we also have our address. Now, one way that you can, one reason this is important is because search engines will use this information as a reference to check and see if those citations are correct, or if there's some conflicting information, they would probably devalue your citation. So you want to make sure this is consistent and accurate relating to your business. Now, one way you can make it easier for search engines is by using Schema. Now, Schema is a markup collection of so-called markup languages that help search engines and social networks easily categorize your content and find the content they want to use for whatever purposes they might be using it. And when it comes to local SEO, the most important areas to add schema to are the name, address, and phone number of your website, also known as the NAP. If you read any local SEO article, you're going to hear NAP a lot. I'm not talking about hiding under your desk in between meetings and taking a nap. They're talking about making sure that you use the schema markup correctly, schema.org/localbusiness. There's a lot of information about this on the web, and we do this a lot for our clients just to make sure they have this straight. But you want to define what is your business name, what is your address, and what is your phone number. And you can do that using Schema and make it very clear for search engines to find this information easily. Now, the next thing after you've sort of looked at your website is to look at Google My Business. So this is a dashboard service that Google provides to any business that has a listing on Google. It helps you manage and combine your Google properties, which include YouTube and Google Maps and Google+. It helps you make sure there aren't any duplicates and that all your information is consistent across all those different areas. This is a great place to focus on. It gives you some different kinds of analysis and metrics about how users see your business on Google, in addition to any other tracking system you might be using. So this is a great place to start, and it's also very authoritative when it comes to the rest of the internet looking at your citations. Facebook is probably the second most important local citation source, I'd say, to start with. You can control it. You probably have a Facebook page for your business, but you might not know that there are a lot of local citations within Facebook as well. If you search for your business name, there might be a map result that comes up, and if you haven't claimed that citation, it can be inaccurate and mislead the people searching for your business, even on Facebook. So Facebook wants to be a search engine too. They want you to go to Facebook for everything. Many of you might have experienced this with the various updates they've made. They want to be the center of your universe. If you have an app, they want to give you updates about everything. So searching for businesses is an important part of that. So this is an important place to go and look for your location information and claim citations that are out there. This is a process that is pretty step-by-step. I go over it a little bit in my article, and it's very important to get this taken care of. Then once you've set up those key areas, the website, Facebook, and Google, you can go and start tracking your progress. You can go back to that Moz Local printout result, or the result, the score they gave you, and you can use their services. It's a pretty affordable service. There's also something called Bright Local, and what these services will do is you add your information into their service, and they will make updates for you across the web. So they have hundreds of location sources, hundreds of directories that they'll update your information and make sure it's consistent. And you can use this dashboard as a central hub and make sure things are going well. There's also other services, including Yext, which is a former Yellow Pages property that manages listings across other directories, and it's a little bit more premium, but it's not quite as hands-on as Moz Local and Bright Local. So then, tracking your progress, you should be using Google Analytics for your website already, or something similar to that to track visitors to your website. But it also helps you monitor your local SEO. This little carrot path here, the audience, geo, location, country, state, is what I would recommend to look at the visitors to your website from a given location. You can compare date ranges as you make updates to see how your traffic has changed over time in certain geographical areas. This is just a great way to get a good look at where people are coming to your website from, what locations they're coming from, and just to get a good sense of how you're performing in local SEO from a traffic perspective. Then, like I mentioned, use Moz Local. As you can see, it's possible to get above a 21% score like that poor Pizza Hut location had. 3Deep's score was a little bit lower when we started that process that I wrote the article about, and now it has gone up as updates have been made through the Moz Local service that we've paid for. So it works. It gives you more consistent citations across the web, and it helps your business maintain that presence that you need. Then when it comes to getting beyond that, it's going to be a lot of managing those citations. There are little independent citations that you need to manage that haven't been changed, you need to give them a call. You're going to end up calling somebody and actually talking to a real person. Hopefully it's not Drake answering the phone for your pizza location. He might not be much help. But it's important to make sure that you're closing outdated citations and merging duplicates whenever possible. So don't be afraid to get on the phone, call that hotline, and make the change. Another important thing to keep an eye on are your reviews. Like I mentioned off the top, 3Deep hasn't had a ton, but a lot of local businesses depend on reviews as a social signal to other users that you're reputable, that your business is one that a searcher would want to go to. So it's important to know that you should encourage but don't incentivize reviews. If you get caught giving out gift cards, for instance, for reviews, you can get cited and penalized. It's actually, I believe there's some laws involved. So it's just important to keep up on encouraging reviews out of people's good faith. When you get reviews, you can add them to your website, and if you use Schema correctly, the reviews will show up in your search results. Those ratings really stand out in a search result page on Google. They give you these nice gold stars that everybody loves to get. So that's a good thing, a good target to go for. Try to get those reviews on your website. Then once you've sort of gotten your citations going and you have some better consistency, you can start looking at some new content, some targeted content for your location. A lot of our contractors have issues with having localized content, so we encourage them to make articles that are about not just their own business or their own services, but also what's going on in the neighborhood, what kind of things might help a resident enjoy where they're living a little bit more, and what writing content that has local information does is it makes your business more relevant to the location. So if you have keywords like St. Paul and Minneapolis in your copy, when it's used well, it can help your local SEO overall. It can make you stand out. It can help you get more links from other local resources and all kinds of SEO related benefits. There's a good tip in this article linked in the slide that we'll provide via SlideShare later that you can go to and see some tips to find some ideas of keywords to use when you're doing research on potential topics to write about. You can use these little modifiers in Google and manipulate that search box so it can give you some suggestions. Like if you use the underscore character in the search box like this with a couple spaces, you can see that if I search Minneapolis space underscore space pizza, it gives me all these other things that people might search for. Minneapolis gluten-free pizza, Minneapolis wood-fired pizza. So it gives me some ideas. These are more like business ideas, but you can search for things related to your business that aren't necessarily commercial subjects and just get some great keyword ideas. So long-term, stay up to date, read blogs, watch webinars like this one. Some bloggers I think are really great are Miriam Ellis, Phil Rozek, and Casey Mraz. A lot of them publish on Moz. Some other websites are Local Visibility System. And just keep coming back to the 3D blog. We got lots of local SEO articles that we published in the past, and we will likely continue to work on them as things happen in the future. So more of your customers can be as excited as this little guy for your pizza if you sell pizza or for whatever customer base that you have. So yeah, with that, we're just about to wrap up. Just like to make sure you guys understand that we would like to offer you the Anatomy of Local SEO ebook that goes a little bit more in depth into on-page optimization for your website, making it look better for local SEO. And we'd also like to offer an SEO scan for the first 10 companies who are interested. So if you're out there and you're a little bit curious about doing this for yourself and how your website is doing in SEO, you want to get a little more help, we're happy to offer an SEO scan for that we often do. So with that, ready for some questions.
All right, thanks, Andy. Great presentation. I know that I learned a lot from it, and I'm hoping that other people did too. As you mentioned, there is some time for some questions. I do notice a couple have come in. I'll just repeat some of the stuff that you mentioned before about the free ebook. Hope that people will have an opportunity to download that. We'll send that link out to people. And then also the offer of a free SEO scan to the first 10 companies. And that's something that's very generous of you and your team to agree if people are looking for some additional SEO help with their own websites or seeing how they might rank. We do have a few questions. I do encourage people to continue to ask questions as you have time. One of the questions that came up, and I think this was a little bit related towards the Google Analytics, but attribution models. Are there ways that you can actually identify if local SEO is working or identify traffic that is coming from local SEO sources?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're looking at Google Analytics, that service does a lot of things to monitor how users are getting to your website. From the geographic perspective, they're going to track where people are coming from. So if you have a conversion tracking set up, I would look at your demographics and your the audience location of the people coming through and try to make a segment so you can see how many of those conversions coming in are from a given geographical area. And if that's lower than you expect, maybe you should look into some SEO updates.
Great. One of the things you mentioned was Facebook, filling out Facebook as far as your name, your address, and using some of the mapping features there. Are there other platforms to consider for citation service or citation sources? Excuse me.
Yeah. Anywhere your business has a profile, if it's social media, you need to consider it as a local SEO resource. You don't need to have your address on Twitter, but having your location information might be important there. If you have multiple locations, if you're a Pizza Hut in a certain neighborhood in St. Paul, you should probably put your neighborhood in the title of that profile. So that's a really important thing to consider.
Great. One of the things I saw was about service area businesses. So if you're a service area business, maybe you cater more towards pizza delivery or you have a refrigerator repair. So you don't necessarily have a storefront, but you're going out to people's homes. Does that change the local SEO strategy that you're doing?
Yeah, it does change the strategy. That's a really important thing to consider when you're thinking about what type of business you are. If you're a service business that serves customers at their location, out in driving trucks to someone's house and as a plumber or something, you might not have a storefront that someone can walk in and ask questions or talk to you. Maybe you work out of your home and you go to people's businesses a lot, and you don't want people to be knocking on your front door, that's something you can manipulate in Google My Business and make it very clear. It'll change the way your local citation is viewed in the maps. You might not have a pin marking your location, but it is important to make that clear. That's definitely something to work on when you have certain considerations like that.
Here's a nice one right here. So my Google Street View has an ugly photo. Can I change it?
Yeah, Google Street View is kind of an animal. We actually went through this process, like I mentioned in the 3D article that I wrote. We had some issues getting the Street View to show the right location, and I actually called Google myself and talked to somebody to try to get them to show the right door. It is visible on Google Street View, and I tried to walk the Google representative to our door. Like as we were both looking at Google Street View, I say, no, turn left, turn right, look at this door, turn left. And he assured me it would update it correctly, but then I called again after the update wasn't made, and they said you can't manipulate it exactly. So what you need to do, none of those changes actually took place from the Google Street View question, but they told me that it would be better to take a lot of photos of the interior and exterior of your office or your location, so it gives some more context to users looking for your business, and those are visible on your profile, like even on Google Maps when someone clicks on your business. So those are really important to have, just good, accurate photos.
That's actually a good transition into this next question. I've heard that photos can enhance SEO. Is that true?
Yeah, it's a quality signal for a local citation to have photos, and you can do this in a couple different ways. On Google, for instance, not just having photos of your door or your building is important, but you can also do things like if you're a restaurant, the restaurant in our building happens to have a Google sphere, which a photo sphere, so you can, they either hired someone or did it themselves to have sort of, it's like a virtual tour essentially, and you can get there through local searches. So it helps people figure out more about what they're getting into when they're choosing to visit your location. So that's definitely a good thing. You can also, giving titles to your photos is always important for SEO. So when you add an image, don't just use the standard number from your camera that might be applied to your photo. Give it some context. Say, this is 3D's front door. Something simple as that can be effective in SEO.
That's fantastic. And the last question I see here right now is, how long does it take for Google to index the changes? So say you've made some updates to your website, you're doing some really cool things with local SEO. How long does it take for Google to start indexing and show some of the hard work that you've been doing?
The indexation is something that is a frequent question in SEO. Indexing changes to your website, it depends on your website, how often it's being crawled. Generally, it's like once a week or something that Google spiders will go out and crawl through your website. But one of the ways you can make sure Google knows your changes have been made is by using Google My Business in the dashboard. You do have to make changes, and they might actually take a day or two for them to review the changes in some cases. You have to verify your business to be able to manage that citation. So that's something I didn't exactly talk about, but it's a short process, and as long as you verified your business, you can make changes very quickly. In fact, when we did it for 3D, it sort of happened overnight. It happened a little too fast, actually, because we updated our address as soon as our mailing address came through, but renovations were still being made to our office, and I think someone came to this building when we were still working at our old office. So you need to take that into consideration a little bit too. Who's coming to your office and when you're making changes.
And so one question I want to ask you just before we go here is, local SEO is a big time topic, but if you give people just one tip, so if we kind of boil this topic of local SEO down into one thing, what would be one tip you would have for people?
I'd say the tip is to be as honest and clear as possible. It's really important to not be deceptive. Some things that you might not consider are using a call tracking number. That's something that a lot of companies use to track their leads, like an 800 number. But it's important to have a phone number with your area code if that's possible. It just gives more local context to your citation. So there are a lot of ways people try to manipulate searches in all forms of SEO, but local SEO also has some issues. So you need to use that spreadsheet so that your legal business name is the title of your citation, and your phone number is accurate, your address is accurate. It's a general principle in SEO to try to be honest and serve customers as well as you would if they were sitting across the desk from you.
Wonderful. And so we'll take one more question before we go. What is the best way to include the multiple cities you serve from a single location? So it sounds like this might be similar to the service area industry that we had before. So it sounds like there's one single location, but they provide services out to multiple different locations. How can you include that within your local SEO?
That's something you can manage using Google My Business. You can, if you have a service area business, you can create sort of you can manipulate the map that they'll show. And like if you serve a metro area with certain cities, you can make a radius around your location, and it'll display that with a red circle or a red area. And it takes some work to make that exactly correct, especially if you're serving a large geographical area. Sometimes that can be tough. Another way to address that is by making different pages on your website related to the different cities that you serve. So you don't want to be keyword stuffing with a lot of links like plumbing in St. Paul, plumbing in Lowertown St. Paul, plumbing in Woodbury, plumbing in different cities. You can't do it that way. That might be a negative tactic. But creating content that is accurate and just describes how you provide services to an area accurately is really the central focus you should be going for.
That's great. I think that's an excellent answer towards that. So I think that we're at our time for this afternoon. Thank you so much, Andy, for today's presentation. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot. And others out there, if you have questions as you review this, we'll be sending an email out with additional resources. Please do feel free to shoot us a note. But thank you again, Andy, for your time today.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for attending.